Is your water heater making noise? In this video, I'm going to tell you the things to look for and the things to listen for to let you know if you've got problems or if you just need to do maintenance on your water heater. I'm Roger Wakefield, Lead AP, the expert plumber. I've been plumbing over 38 years and I have every master endorsement in the state of Texas. On this channel, I'm teaching you how to fix your plumbing fast and free. If you haven't been here before, please subscribe so you don't miss anything. Water heaters make a wide variety of noises, and knowing what those noises mean can let you know whether it's time to do maintenance on a water heater, or possibly if there's some parts on a water heater you may want to look at replacing yourself or calling a plumber to replace. So we're going to talk about some of those today just to let you know. As you see, we've got a cut open gas water heater. Thanks to the people at Bradford White for doing this for us, I'm able to show you the inside of the water heater to kind of let you know some things that you might not know about a water heater. The first noises that I'm going to talk about are the cracking, popping, and rumbling. Now these are normally with an electric water heater. On the inside of the electric water heater, you've got the heating elements. And what happens is the sediment, the calcium and magnesium, start to build up on the heating elements. And when they shut off, water gets trapped down under that calcium and magnesium. When the element kicks back on, it heats that up and creates that boiling, that cracking or that popping noises. And what it is, it's heating that water and forcing it up through the sediment that's under the elements. So what you may want to do at that point is look at possibly changing your heating elements. The other noise you get with an electric or a gas water heater can be a rumbling noise. And that can be caused by the calcium and magnesium, all the sediment being built up in the bottom, and then that water flushing it around and creating a lot of noise while this is going on. So there's a couple of things you may want to think about here. You may want to put an anti-scale system on your house. That's going to help eliminate that. What it does is it breaks it down, it keeps it in the water. You know, there's nothing wrong with calcium and magnesium in our water. It's actually there for our own good, but it's bad for our products. So an anti-scale system will break it down and keep it in the water where it should be, instead of it sticking to your heating elements, your water heater, or the inside of your fixtures. So that's a good thing. So what you may want to do is do that and then flush your water heater. But we'll talk about flushing your water heater more whenever we talk about maintenance. All right, knocking and hammering, two more noises. Now this can be caused by a shock arrestor not being installed or a water hammer arrestor. What happens is some fixtures, a toilet can do it, normally a dishwasher, something that has a solenoid valve where water is instantly on and instantly off, it can cause that water to hammer and pop inside your walls. If it's really bad enough, we have opened up walls and installed shock arrestors or water hammer arrestors. We've actually installed pieces of tube that have air in it to where it'll absorb some of that. If your problem's bad enough, it can be fixed, but normally you're going to have to get into your wall to take care of that problem when it comes to the hammering, the pounding noise, something like that. And that really doesn't matter whether you've got a gas or electric water heater. That can even occur on your cold water side. Sometimes you hear that noise of water screeching, like a screaming type of a sound. What those noises are, even though we're talking about water heaters, they can happen on a toilet if a valve does not completely close. And your fill valve is a valve, and if it doesn't close all the way, water can screech through it. Hot water, for some reason, tends to make a little bit more noise. So if you've got a valve that didn't get closed all the way, it can make a screaming noise. If somebody has done some work on your water heater and maybe they didn't open your valve all the way, it can make a screaming noise there. What I tell people when they get that screaming noise is look at that valve on your water heater and then look at your toilets, look at anything that may be not closed all the way, but that screeching noise a lot of times is just a valve that didn't get closed all the way. All right, now let's talk about the ticking and tapping noises. Sometimes, if you hear it right at your water heater, sometimes the nipples on top, these threaded pieces of pipe that come out, can have a check valve or a heat trap in there. And sometimes it'll have a piece in there that moves and you'll hear that tapping. Now, that is something that if it really does annoy you, you can take these out and put in a normal dielectric nipple or put in a regular nipple and put in a dielectric union. I like the dielectric unions. That makes it so that if you need to disconnect your water heater, there's a union there. So literally it's a threaded connection. So after you turn your water off, it makes it real easy to disconnect in case you need to get in there and do something. Now the tapping noise can also be something you hear in your walls. When water lines heat up over about 125, 130 degrees, they start making that tapping noise, and it's the expansion and contraction of the metals or the pipe that the water runs in. Now, tankless water heaters are a little bit different. They make a lot of noises. First of all, if you hear the clicking noise, that is normally a switch letting it know that there is a demand or a call for hot water. So you may hear the switches click, you may hear relays letting it know to turn on a fan motor, you may hear the fan motor itself. Then when that burner kicks on a tankless water heater, you can normally hear it. These are all common noises. Now, some of the noises that we've already talked about, you may hear throughout the house because the hot water noise is going to happen on the pipes no matter what kind of heater you've got. Also, another noise you can get is too much calcium buildup in the heat exchanger. Again, we go back to an anti-scale system. If you've got a tankless water heater, it's probably more important for you to have this than it is a tank. A heat exchanger in a tankless water heater is not very wide. And if you start building up a 1/4 inch of sediment on each side of that, it really does restrict the flow and restrict how much water you're able to get out of it. So again, an anti-scale system, if you've got a tankless water heater, is probably a big deal. And the noises that you hear on a tankless water heater, chances are if you're right there at the water heater, it's something it's supposed to be doing. The relays, the switches, the fans, the blower motor itself, it's all part of that. So tankless water heaters do make noise, just not the same types that a tank top does. Okay, so back to the gas water heater that we're at. Sediment will fill up in the bottom. And what you get is the burner assembly is down in the very bottom, and then the bottom of the tank, and all that sediment will start to fill up. Guys, the way to take care of your water heater, the most important thing you can do is when you have a new water heater, remember to flush it at least once a year. Hook up a water line at the drain valve at the bottom, either run it outside to concrete, you want it in your driveway, the alley, the street, something like that, and open this valve all the way while the water heater still has the valve on, because all you're trying to do is put water in and flush that sediment out the bottom. If you have not flushed your water heater in 2 or 3 or 4 years, anything longer than that, don't do it. After a couple of years, you're probably still okay, but once it starts going over that, what happens is you get these little tiny hairline cracks in a water heater, and the aluminum and magnesium off of the anode rod actually go out and fill those cracks. So if you wait much longer than that, the problem that you're going to have is you're liable to clean some of that out, and that could make that crack open up and cause you to have a leak on your water heater. So normal maintenance, normal flushing is something you want to make sure you do with your water heater all the time. So is your water heater making noises? Guys, we've talked about a lot of different noises and a lot of different solutions for it. There may be an element you need to change out. There may be a flush that you need to perform if you hadn't done it in a little while. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you've enjoyed some of our other videos. If you like this, leave us a thumbs up and leave us a comment down below and let us know what you think. Have you taken care of your water heater like you're supposed to?